Welcome to the 14th section, in which we're going to be implementing some Google Play services. Those are the leaderboard and also the achievement. But before we get into these, before we get into going inside of the Google Play console, we are going to set up our game to just give us some places to start initiating these and also testing them out. So the first place I'll actually implement something is right here in this menu screen. So I've got my game open, made sure to enable the canvas in it, so I could just look at it at the moment, and inside of it I will be creating two buttons. Now these will probably change by the end of the tutorial, of course, but I have these graphics right here with these circles, so I could do buttons, I could do circles. I feel like doing circles for these, so might as well do that. I'm gonna go with a width of 225, and you probably guessed it, what I'm doing right here is just a regular button. So I'll grab this button, anchor it at the bottom, maybe give it a margin of -50, and create two of those. One of them will be a leaderboard button, and the other one will be, of course, the achievements. There we go. I'll be moving one of them towards the left. Now that we have these buttons, we're gonna head over to the game manager and find our game state in it, because that's the one that's attached to this very specific piece of UI. And I'll go under here, open it up, and I'll make sure to create two new function on achievement click and also on leaderboard click. These will be hooked to the button, of course. So now that I've saved this, I'm gonna go back to my buttons. I'll select both of them at the same time, and let's go ahead, add a new onClick function, drag and drop the game manager, and find the on achievement click, and also I'll go back on the leaderboard and make sure I modify that to on leaderboard click, of course. Okay, alright, so we have these two. They're quite ready to be used. When I click on them, the code within is going to be ran. And that's actually where we're going to be ending. We just needed to set up this very small thing here for our game. We'll come back in the next episode. We're going to be looking at inside of the Google Play console, enabling these services and also what to input in here. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode in which we're going to be configuring the achievement and also the leaderboard for our game. So those already have some buttons for those right here. This button and this button, and those will help me open up the achievement and also the leaderboard for the game. I'm currently remaking this video for the sole purpose that the first time around I had some issue with a black screen. Okay, so what I've did right here is I've head over to the Google Play console just by typing in Google Play console. Let's make sure I go to the right account. There we go, that's my right account. And then lately we uploaded the Subway Skater course right here. So I'm going to be going back on this page. This page, you should already have seen it thus far. If you haven't, make sure you go back a couple of videos where we publish to the Google Play Store. Okay, so today is all about the Play Game Services, which is a tab that you have here on the left-hand side. Make sure you click on it, expand, and we're going to start with the configuration. You should be following the wizard here because I already have done it. Unfortunately, I can't redo it, but it's going to ask you, have you ever... does your game already exist on the Google Play services? You're going to say no, and then enter the meta information. So adding your icon, adding description, what is the category of your game is very important. You're going to need to fill all of that in, and once that is completed, you will then need to assign some credentials. Now this is the part that is a little bit complicated, so I'm just going to go and have a look. Is everything good? Seems to be good here. And then we have the credentials. Now the part that is complicated is when it comes down to credentials, and what are those credentials actually. So what I'm going to do here is add a new set of credentials. I hope I can do that actually, else I'm going to have to delete the other one. We're going to add new credentials for Android. That's our name. We don't need to use credentials for new install. This is only there, I believe, because I already published a game with another set. This anti-piracy settings over here is just so if you have a leaderboard, for example, if you have a leaderboard or achievement, people that did not install the app through the Play Store will not be able to participate in that. So that's what it does. I'm going to leave it on off by default because I don't want to have any conflict with anything else that could happen. And here is where it gets money. So we need to select a OAuth client. And if you don't have one, they're going to ask you to create one, in which you can simply click on this button and then make sure you follow these steps very, very carefully. So I'm going to be opening a new link with my middle mouse click. Let's open up this here. And I have both screens up. The first thing I get here is a insufficient permission. That is because I am on the wrong account. So if you have multiple accounts here, make sure you select the right one, the one associated with your game. So here I am both on the same account. I have to create a new OAuth client ID. Now what is the type? The type is going to be Android, because that's what it says here. The name is going to be Subway Skater in this case. My package name is the package name. And now, unfortunately for me, since I most likely, because I deleted my credential, I have to recreate it again. This did not autofill. Hopefully for you it did. Else, if it did not, what you can do is go back here. I'll just hit done because that's the last step. I'll hit done and then I'll go over to, where was I? I believe I was under app integrity. So you're gonna go under release. No, actually, sorry, setup, app integrity, and then you'll find your SHA-1 certificate right here. I'll copy this one and I'll paste it where it belongs. Then we can hit create and go back to where we were a couple of seconds ago. So here it's going to give you your client ID. I'm just going to copy this in case I'll need it, but I don't think we do. I think it's going to find itself automatically. So back on our configuration under the Play Game Services, we start creating credentials. So let's do add credential again. Scroll down and then we should have it right here. That's the one we created a couple of seconds ago. Then I'm going to hit save changes. And now we have our credentials. Alright, so now we have our credentials. We're going to go ahead and create ourselves some achievement and also some leaderboard. So as mentioned earlier, this is my second time recording the video for the sole purpose that I had a black screen when I rendered some reason. But here are all the achievements I actually created prior. They might inspire you to create your own, you could say. But I have one where I collect 10 fish during one session, up to 300 fish, have all the hats, and joining the ladder, things like that basically. And I'd like to show you how to create one. I'll fake create one. So create achievement, that's what you'll have here at the top. You'll input a name, a description, and also an icon. You cannot publish an achievement that does not have an icon, so you'll need to actually get one in there. Those are 512 by 512 usually. Next up here it says incremental achievement. So for example, if you had an achievement that said play the game 10 times or like boot the game 10 times, you could make this achievement incremental. And then every time that you enter the game, you do a plus plus on it. So you do +1. And what this does here is that it keeps track of the progress of the user. So this is like an achievement, but with a save function on it, you could say. Okay, then right after that we have the initial state. Is it revealed or is it hidden? Some games do that. They hide some achievement and they just give it to you once you did whatever needed to be unlocked. How many point is that achievement worth? For this is actually for the Google Play services. You have experience. You can have up to 1,000 points. In my case, I have 1,005 for some reason, but hey, that'll do the job. And which is the order in which this achievement will appear in the list. I have 12 achievement right now, so this could be the 13th one or 12th one. Okay, I am not going to create it because when you create an achievement here, it just stays, and I don't want that to happen. But it's a very simple process. You guys can go through it just through the wizard. The wizard is going to guide you quite well. Next up, we are going to create an achievement for top scores. Here is exactly the same thing. So name. You also have a format in which you're going to choose, do you want to have number, duration, or currency? And you're going to be sorting the order. So, or you're going to be allowing the largest number. Largest number is better, or smallest number is better. For example, here, our score, the largest number is better. But for duration, if it was a timed course, then the smallest number would be better. Temper protection, what is this one? Okay, so this mentioned that it protects and it filter fraudulent, but I'm not sure how it does it, so I am not going to speak on that. And of course, you can also set limits, so set a minimum allowed score. So if you're below 1,000, in my case, then you're not allowed to be in the leaderboard. Once you're done creating all of those achievements, you are going to hit review and publish. Now do note that once an achievement is published, or once the leaderboard is published, you cannot unpublish it. So everything that you create has to stay. In here, what is ready to publish? So a bunch of new achievement, new credentials, all of this. Sorry about that, that's my Facebook. Hit publish and then publish those changes. It's gonna take a little bit longer for you. I think it's instant because I already published something prior. So in your case, it might take a little bit more time, but once that is completed, you're gonna be heading over to the next video, I believe, in which you're gonna be integrating the Google plugin. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you then. Cheers. So last time we left off, we managed to publish our Google Play Game services. So here they are. We have an achievement, a leaderboard, and now today we're going to be looking at integrating that within our code. And the way we're going to go about it is by also integrating a Google Play SDK. So Google Play Game Services has a page here which mentions a couple of SDK you can use. For here, it's plugins. There is a plugin for Unity. This is what we're interested in. And do note that this one is actually being maintained by Google themselves. If it's not hit by that, then it means it's a third party, and you'll find a couple of these over here. But they're mostly for Android, and as you can see, they are for native if you look at the languages. In ours, we are, of course, for Unity. We'll have access to achievement, leaderboard, events, save games. So this is important if you're doing if you're doing cloud saving as well. So that might be something you're down for. If you're interested in save game, there is another video on the YouTube channel, and there's also assets on the website you could use. But that's not our goal today. Our goal is going to be about achievement and leaderboard. So let's make sure we grab this plugin. It's actually on Git, and it gets updated very often, as you can see here. 10 days ago was updated. I'm going to go ahead and get this code. So I'll just copy this. You can download as a zip, or you could just clone it. Once it has been extracted, you can now click on the folder, go inside of the current build, and you'll find a very convenient Unity package file. We like this because all we have to do is run it while the engine is open. And here you'll see a couple of things, and be really careful with that because you'll see that we have external dependency that will modify our manifest. So if you have any other SDK, for example, Google AdMob, you might run into conflict, and it's going to be very you're going to need to actually merge them into one. So here we can see plugin version, social platform. I think that's the code we'll need. Yeah. Actually, we need pretty much everything here. We need the basic API as well, but we're just exploring here a little bit. Do note that when I hit import, we might run into some issues with the manifest, as I've just mentioned. So after waiting a little bit, this pop-up actually happened. It is the manifest. So as you can see here, we have issues with the manifest. And that is because we need to have some more scopes. We need to have these Google scopes. So I think I can actually just enable the auto resolution and it's going to work. But I've just verified it's the same exact packages, but we are going to use the scope. Same thing if you're using Firebase, same thing if you're using the Google Cloud Services. So I'm actually going to try and trust the auto resolution by enabling it. And was that a good idea? It seems not. Okay, so it seems like the auto resolution doesn't work because we don't have the Java home set, which is kind of a problem because usually we do have these set automatically. This is coming from, well, our Java is actually an installation that came with Unity. So the GDK came with Unity. So seeing this error just really pisses me off because it's part of Unity. One of the ways to fix this issue online that I've read is going under Preferences, External Tool. And we're going to go down to the GDK, just disable it. Disable two of them, so SDK and the GDK. I am going to let this run for a bit, crash, I don't care. Okay, close this off, and then just re-enable it. And let's hope that somehow it fixed the Java home path. And also I didn't boot the screen, it just booted on its own. It seems like it's going through a lot more than used to back in 2 minutes ago actually. So just disabling this and re-enabling this helped me out with this bug. Chances are you are running Unity 2020 and you're not getting this issue at all, so that's even better. But in my case, since I'm using 19 and it's a known bug, I had to go and do this workaround and it worked well. I am going to test this out quickly on my device simply because we've done a lot of change and we also have some new dependencies, so I want to make sure that it works. To build, of course, I will need to
sign my application. And once this is signed, actually you could put this, if you're tired of doing this all the time, you could also select to be on debug, which I believe is it's somewhere around here. You can actually be maybe here in debug, and it's not going to ask you for a key, but you're also not going to be able to publish. So I'm going to go ahead and build this to my phone. I'll let you know if it works in a moment. Alright, so it seems like the build was interrupted by this because the meta file I set just doesn't work here. So what I'll be doing is a whole new thing. Let's check this out. So the name of this file is Google Play Games plugin v0.10.11. So I'm going to be looking for v0.10.11, and it's not showing up here because I also want to be looking in packages. Seems like it's also not showing here, so maybe look in all. And I can't seem to find this file, so I'll go manually find it in my folder. We're no longer kidding around, so asset Google Play Games into editor, Google Play Games, and here it is. That's the file that's causing all my issue, and I'm just gonna hit delete. I'm tired of that file. It's gonna regenerate itself and see what happens now. Again, I will start another build, and what this is going to do is going to force Unity to create those meta file for the text, and hopefully it's going to be using the new format we have with this engine. I'm not quite sure exactly what was the issue, but it seems like this meta file got corrupted, and it went through the build. So right now it's building to my phone. So quite happy about that. It seems that deleting it was an actual solution. And we're going to see if this works on my phone in a second. As I was building this, on the very last second of my build, roughly 2 minutes after my build, it crashed, and here's what I have as the information. Could not find any valid target to launch on Android. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say that's because I already have a build of this game that doesn't have the same manifest. So what I'll do on my phone right now, and you just have to listen to me say it, I'm going to take my game and I'm going to uninstall it. So make sure I uninstall my game, and once again I'll give it another build. So Control B, build and run, and I'll try once more with a fresh install. And it seems like it is booting on my device. The build was completed with succeed. It took a long time actually. Longer than I would like to admit, and it's running on my device, so everything seems to be back to normal right now with no issues. So we managed to integrate the package, which was one of the hardest thing to do, to be honest. The rest is going to be to write code and have fun. So from this point on, I will be seeing you in the next episode in which we are going to write that code. Alright, so last time we managed to publish our Google Play services, then we integrated the SDK, and today we're going to be writing code to make sure we can actually sign in those SDK. Or those services actually, and then call the achievements when needed, and also call the leaderboard when needed. So I do have a page over here called the, well, actually it's the Google package we integrated last time. And if we scroll down here, you're gonna have a big README, and in the README we'll need to do 3 things: the sign in, post score to leaderboard, and also achievement. So unlock, reveal, and also increment achievement. Those are the 3 features we're going for. Achievement and leaderboard is what we're going for, but to do that, we have to be signed in. So let's scroll down just a little bit. Our first step will be to configure the game. So we have to copy the game resources from the console, which means we are going to go right back in here. This is my, of course, this is my Google Play console. We can head over to the, where is it exactly? It should be down here. So Play Game Services, we're going to go under the configuration. Actually, never mind that. We're going to go under achievement or leaderboard, any of those, and then you'll be able to see this button. I don't know why it's not anywhere else, but I can find it inside of the achievement, and then I can also find it under the leaderboard. So one of these two will be looking for get resource button. Then we'll have this right here. I'm actually going to copy this over. So with a copy to my clipboard, we're going to go back to the game, under Window, Google Play Game, Setup, Android Setup, and we'll just paste it in here. this will generate a class called GPS IDs and GPS IDs. And if you'd like, you can also change that. That's not a problem. But do know that by default, it's called this over here, and it's going to be stored under the asset folder. So it will just be somewhere in our folder here. We can probably move it around right afterward. So our code is in here. That's good. And then do we have a web app client? I believe we don't. So our next step will be to click on setup. Really the only important part here is that we have our ID and also our game. The rest here will be made to make sure we can actually call these achievement and also the leaderboard with a certain ID. So let's hit a setup and we will be seeing a new file, Happy Ring, right here in our project. If you want, you can just have a quick look at it. You'll see that we have a bunch of constant field, achievement, and also leaderboard top score. Okay. Alright, now we're going to go all the way down to the sign in. And to sign in, all we have to do is call the Play Games platform instance authenticate with sign in activity. We can see a snippet of the code right here, and that's actually what we'll be grabbing, and that's what we'll be putting inside of our initial script. Okay, so I'll be headed to the very first script that runs when the game starts. Actually, there's a bunch, but Game Manager is the first one in our main logic, you could say. There is a start. We could actually put that in awake, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but let's give it a try. So private void awake. If it doesn't work, we're going to be putting it just a little bit below that, so in the start. I'll be integrating those two at the top. So using the Google Play Games, also using the Unity Engine.social platform. Do note that in order for these to appear at the top, you'll have to have integrated the SDK, the thing we've done in the previous section. So authenticate the user, that's what we have to, and then in the middle we have the end all result. So what we have here is a call, so sign in activity. Why is that not working? Okay, so apparently we need one more thing. We need the Google Play Game basic API. Alright, so over here we have three options. One of the option is to not prompt the user whatsoever. So no UI will be shown if you are needed, it will fail. So that usually happens if you click on the button. It's an action that is manual, so the person decides to sign it. It's something that he wants to do. Can prompt once will actually show him the a prompt initially, ask him if he'd like to sign in. If he accepts, then we will keep on trying to automatically sign in afterward in the next game session. Can prompt always will simply mean that it's always going to show the UI and it's always going to try and sign you in. And if you accept, then it's going to keep signing you in as long as it works. The only difference in between these two is that if I refuse to sign in the can prompt once, on the next game session, when I reopen the app, it's not going to try to do anything. So I've refused it and it remembered that I refused it. So this one is the preferred method not to lose user, because they will receive the call once, and if they accept, they accept, and if they don't, then we're going to implement a manual option for them. So that's what we'll do here. Okay, yeah, it's a sign-in status. So already in progress, cancelled, failed, network error. Okay, so we're going to do success, and if it's successful, we do something, and else is going to be the default. We are not going to do anything, or maybe just do a debug.log for that. Actually, what I'll be doing here is simply store a Boolean value that let me know whether or not I'm connected. And if I am, and I'm pressing on the achievement button or I'm pressing on the leaderboard button, we're going to be showing these prompts. And if I'm not, I'm going to try signing in again. So it's just the state that I will be storing in here. So is connected to GPS. It sounds weird, but that's Google Play Services. So Google, yeah, let's just write it completely. And I can't type today. Okay, cool. That's true. And if it's something else in success, then I would say it's false. That's, however, not true. Maybe I want to do some more cases. So in this case here, we can also do sign-in status, already in progress, developer error. I'm quickly gonna have a... Now something I'm gonna go do here is just bump up this field and make sure it is public. We'll be accessing it from the game state initialize. So right here In my game state initialize, we've input these two functions, and I'm simply going to be calling the game manager and look if we are connected. So if we are, something's going to happen, and if we're not, we're going to try and connect again. So the same code that I've put in there, I'll try to put it here. So if we are connected, let's do whatever we have to do, else we are going to try and sign in. And you know what? We could actually wrap this up in a function. So we'll do that just to make things a little bit cleaner. Public void sign into Google Play Services, which will not require any parameter. And all we'll have to do is the following. Alright, in the awake, we'll try to call it. And now I'll take this function, which is public, go back here and call the game manager instance sign into Google Play Services in the else statement. So if we are not connected. Okay, that should pretty much do it for this one. There might be some cases where we have to manage failure, but at the moment I'll have to test and see. The next step is right here. So social, show achievement UI, and also social, show leaderboard UI. Actually, I think that's all we need. So let's give this a try. Hopefully that's all we need. Social, show achievement UI, and also social, show leaderboard UI. Okay, before we move any further, I'll give this a quick test on my device. Alright, so I've just launched the game here, and we have the starting the OAuth client. We can see the authenticate happening, and then eventually I run into one issue with the process. It says returning an error code, and I'm not quite sure which one it is, so I'll have to figure it out. It might take a little bit of time, but we'll get on with it. Alright, so I just had the chance to install this on my device with a whole new setup, and I have to tell you all about it. And let me just boot up the analytics real quick. I also installed the internet logcat so we can have a good look at what's going on. Let me check this out. Right, so the application just booted and it automatically signed me in, and it worked. And I found out what is the big problem. The big problem is actually quite a big one, and you'll find out what it is in a second. It's so everything is worked. So I signed in with the last sign-in account. So my problem was, as I was trying to sign in, with an application that was not actually released on the Play Store, because we've made changes here on our own, right? So we've added buttons, we've added a little bit of code, we've changed the hash, and also we changed the application as a whole. And when I tried to sign in with that, I have what Google Play Services consider as a corrupted install. It's an install I have on my device that I've done on my own. It's not coming from the store, and therefore it doesn't accept the sign-in. So what I had to do to get this to work is actually first, I did two things, right? So I released it again here. So I've made a new release with a new build containing the code. And this one is actually not live. It says live, but it's not live yet because it has to be reviewed. It's a new release to production, so it has to be reviewed. So instead what I've done is I went to internal testing. I went on our tester group. I've added myself as a tester, made sure that this is correct. Sent myself the link, installed it on my device, and also made sure that my release here, I went under create a new release, I uploaded the APK, and it works. So the APK I'm using is uploaded on the console. However, it's not open to the public right now, so the public cannot sign in, but here as an internal tester, I was able to try it with a version of the application that is actually on the store. So that worked, and as soon the people in production will be able to see that work as well. At least signing in, because as you saw, the show UI for both leaderboard and achievement didn't work. So I'm glad we went through another hard problem. At this point, the next problem is going to be to make sure these UI work. So I'm going to try and find out why they didn't work. Okay, so we are back, and I found out what the issue was. We were missing the playgamesplatform.activate. So under the configuration, let me just find it real quick. Here, under the configuration section, we need these two here at the bottom. Well, we don't technically need debug log.enabled, but I actually use it. So all you need to do is the playgamesplatform.activate, and you'll have to do that in a awake or a start, but that would be before you do the sign in. So there is a small modification I've done to the code. Here I now have a private void awake in which I call these,
And then in the start, I call the sign into Google Play, which makes me wonder why this is here. It should be here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's the new code. Awake into a start that calls the sign in to Google Play services. And now with that in mind, the result we're actually getting is the following. So I've now booted my application on my phone. I'm gonna try and give you a visual this time. So if we go here, it's hooked up and there is a function to do a screenshot somewhere here, screen capture. So let's give this a look. This is actually what I have right now, and then I'm gonna press on the achievement button. So I've just pressed on the achievement button and this is what it gives me. Go back, press on the leaderboard button, and this is what it gives me. There we go. So we now have these two things. I actually didn't see my achievement. Let me go check back. Yeah, so collect 10 fish is here, and everything seems to be working just fine. Now it's going to be a matter of reporting changes to the leaderboard and also reporting unlocking those achievements. So we'll have to do these two things in the very next section. So I'll see you in the next section. Alright, so we just finished testing again. The UI was appearing for both the achievements and also for the leaderboard. And now we're going to be learning how to report to the leaderboard and also report progress on achievement, which is quite easy, and you'll see. We will start with the leaderboard. I think that's the easiest example. And to do so, I will open up my dev state, so my game state dev, because we are posting score to the save manager here. This is in the construct, and in the construct we look prior to saving, set the high score if needed. Well, on top of that, if we're having a personal high score, we're also going to make sure that we publish that to Google Play in case we're signed in. So let's have a look here. We will start with one call, a if statement. That if statement is going to have to do with knowing if we're connected. If we are connected, we are going to post a score. If we're not, in this case, I will not prompt the user because we're in the middle of a play session. He has already been prompted to log on and it didn't work and he didn't want to go through. So we're not going to ask him every single time, right? So only once at the beginning, and that's enough. That's good practice. But if we are connected, let's go ahead and let's report to the scorer. And we do that using the social platform. All we have to do is call social report score, and we report it to a certain, well, first we need the score. So let's take the one over here. This is a score, and then it takes in a string. Now that string is exactly what you have in under the constant class that we've created earlier. That class was called GPS ID in our case because we did not change the name, and we're reporting to the leaderboard top score. You'll find it right here, CGKLX, that's the string. You could also type it in manually, but you know what, we have the constant class here, so might as well do that. And then after that, you get to see, you get to have an action, a callback here that you could input. So for example, we could say success. So we're going to create a new variable called success and create a function right after. Oh, and I forgot there's a space in between. There should not be a space in between. And you can verify here if it worked or not. In my case, we are going to be posting the score silently, so I'm not actually going to put anything in there. In fact, I believe I could go and say null. Or that's bad practice, actually. Let me at least do a debug.log error in case we're not able to reach the server. So, unable to post high score. Just in case, and I'll put the if statement in front of it. So if not success, then we're unable to post the high score. And that's all we need to do. It's really as simple as that. When it comes down to an achievement, however, you are going to need to have specific logic for your game. For example, well, not for your game, sorry, for your achievement. In our case over here, we do have one achievement right now that has to do with how many fishes we have. And let's see here. We do take notice of the fishes we have here during the game, but what I prefer to do is go over to the game stat and proc it as we go. So for example, fish collected this session, if we reach a point where we reach a total of 10 fish,
I'd like to trigger it during the game so we have some encouragement during the game the person is playing, and then it just shows up in the middle of a play session. So here's what I'll do. We have an action here, so technically we could also just hook it up. Yeah, we could do that. So we could do onCollectFish and have a function that looks for those achievements. That could be a tad cleaner, so let's do that. Private void verify achievement, or send achievement progress, or look for achievement progress with the fish count. Would that do the job here? I believe so. And what's gonna happen is once we start with the awake, so during the awake, as soon as we collect the fish, I'd like to call this function and verify. So we are not going to do it the way I just did it. We're going to do onCollectFish is going to be plus equal to the name of the function I've just created, like so. And then now every time we're calling onCollectFish, this is going to be run. And we can do a switch statement, for example, with the fish count. When we reach 10, so case 10, then we're going to be reporting on that achievement. So let me just do a default break. When we reach 10, I'd like to do a social dot report progress. I believe it was report progress. Yeah, so here it is. We're going to be reporting the progress, and as you can see here, achievement ID, exact same thing as prior. So we're going to be looking at our GPS ID and then find the one we need, collect 10 fish, and we are going to do a it's going to ask you for progress, because you can actually do that incrementally. So you can say, hey, you're going to have a 70% progress on this achievement, or something like that. In our case, since it's a one-time thing, we are just going to input 100% in here, and that's going to give us the achievement in one go. When we are successful with this achievement and it goes through, we're actually going to see a piece of UI that pops up, and I'll try to capture this one for you. So I actually don't need to parse anything in here. I'm not doing anything if it's successful or not. So I'm going to see the default UI that pops up, and that's going to be enough. So we're going to give this a try, but as you know, to give this a try, so as I am making a new version of this game, I have to upgrade the version and the bundle version code. By the way, you could just upgrade by 0.5. You don't have to increment by a full number like I'm doing. I don't know why I started doing that, but I've started doing that, so I'm going to keep on with that. Alright, so I got the application on my phone right now. What I'm going to do is try to get a high score above 1000, because we do have a lowest allowed score that is actually locked in, so I can't make it any lower than that. So I'm going to make sure that I get a high score of 1000, and I also want to try and take a picture the second I'm going to hit 10 fish during a single play session. And that is right now. Actually, I was playing on the side. Let me hit capture, and you see right here, as I was trying to get it, by the way, I'm also dead, but we see the pop-up here at the top says collect 10 fish, 1000 XP, and that bothers me a tad bit, because I thought we mentioned that this should be only 5 XP, so maybe it's something that we have to double check on. So what's going to happen here, and I have mentioned here, I want to have 10 points, must be a multiple of 5 between 5 and 200. 10 out of 1000 point use. Okay, so here it says 10, but somehow on the Google Play services I got 1000, so maybe that's a bug. I'm not quite sure, because at the end of the day you're trying to have the achievement that amounts up to 1000. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen once I input more of them inside of the game, which will happen. But at the moment I seem to have the achievement at least, so that's a good start. Now if I go under my achievement UI, this is what I see. So I have my achievement unlocked and I have 1 out of 1. However, if I go under the other menu, which is the leaderboard, and I hit capture, you're gonna see that really nothing happens, because I didn't get 1000 point. I just died while I was trying to get the fish and also the picture. So I'm gonna go back and get a score of 1000 and plus. So surprisingly enough, it's much easier to get 10 fish than get a high score of 1000. So what I think I might be doing is increment the amount of points you get for getting a fish. And here, as you can see, I managed to get a total of 15 fish and a high score of 1034 or 1035. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to see what's wrong with here as well. But let's have a look at what we get in the logs. A bunch of GDs. Okay, that's for my phone. That's fine. we are reporting a score of 1034 to this very board, and I'm gonna go on that menu. Let's boot it up, capture, and you will find my really annoying person here with my fake Google account. So I'm rank 1 of my own game, and it works. So the UI is here, and we got it to work, and I'm quite happy about that. So that's actually where we're gonna be ending up this adventure with the Google Play services. A lot of hustle, a lot of things, pieces of the puzzle we need to put together in order for this to work. But we finally got it working, and now I'm gonna go back to the board. The leaderboard is fine, but I'm gonna go back to the drawing board and create a lot more achievement. I want to have the game full of achievement, and yeah, that's actually where we are going to be ending up this session. So thank you so much for watching. In the next one, we're going to be starting to tackle the Apple product, which hopefully I can get my hand on fairly soon, and that will be it. So thank you so much. I'll see you then.